Howdy folks. Underneath this hand towel is Potato Rock and Friends. This is going to be the opening segment for that video for a couple of reasons. I believe I already had an opening segment, but there was some oopsies made in the shinering of this rock. Initially I thought it was softer than it, I believe, turned out to be. And so there were some steps that I'll probably edit out because it was, oh, well, this is a softer rock. And I tried running it all by itself in the 12-pound barrel with just ceramics and 120, 220 grit. And I kind of farted around with that a little bit for about 3 or 4 cycles of varying lengths and finally decided that this thing must be harder than I thought. So I took it right from the start. 60, 90 grit, and I also kind of came to the conclusion that maybe it wasn't tumbling well, it was because it didn't have any friends, that the ceramics weren't enough by themselves to do it. So again, this is kind of long-winded here. I'm trying to make it short, but basically this will be the introduction, and it'll be some clever editing, hopefully, or not too ham-handed or ham-fisted, and we'll get you to the end part where I'll pull this off and give a beautiful reveal. I hope you enjoy this series, and I thank you for watching. Howdy folks! Meet Potato Rock. My wife found this rock several years ago here on the property, and she was quite enamored with it just because of its pleasing shape and the stripy pattern, which, again, it's subtle, but it's there. This is also a bit of a softer rock, so I'm going to do a little experiment on it. Well, there it goes, folks. It's started its journey to Shiny Town, hopefully. Will my wife be impressed, or will her disappointment be immense, and will I possibly need to crash on one of your guys' couch? Just on an unrelated note, let me know if anybody's got a spare couch, just in case this goes south. Like I said, we'll check back in a couple days, and hopefully that won't be the last video I ever produce. Alright folks, a little bit of an update. This is day 3. I am wearing bibs today, but I am wearing a different hat. So for those keeping track at home, pants yes, hat different. Anyway, alright folks, well, I'm going to admit some confusion here, some confusion. This potato rock is kind of driving me insane a little bit, but when I tested this the other day with my picks, I thought I was getting decent scratching on down to 4. It was very faint, but you could see something. Well, the whole texture of the rock was like this. And so I think it scratches more noticeably. Like, that's a 5 and that's a 4, 5 and a 4, or I don't even think that's a scratch, I don't know, but you really can't get your fingernail in any of these. There's no catching. It's just basically a white mark, but I would qualify that as a scratch. Well, on the side here where it's relatively smooth, that's an 8. You can catch a fingernail in it, but it's very faint. I mean, it's not easy to do. It's not deep. That's a 7, 6, 5, 4. And none of these, they're basically white marks. None of them are actually anything you could catch a fingernail in. So I don't know, again, if it's because the rock was rougher or I'm just an idiot. I'm not sure exactly what, but these ends don't seem to want to smooth up, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to load it back up, the ceramics and everything, and I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of 60-90 in there and just go right from scratch. I don't know if it's because there's not enough weight being bared down on these with just the ceramics. Even the sides could use some further smoothing, and these edges for some reason they're not smoothing up very nicely. So I'm gonna, and I thought this thing, I swear I thought it was a piece of quartz or quartzite. So I don't know if, again, the Mohs test was an error. Maybe I case hardened it. I don't know. I'm sure that's not it. But anyway, let me get this loaded back up, and we'll get her back on the tumble again. All right, folks. I got the ceramics and the potato loaded back up. Now, this looks like it's loaded too heavily. Honestly, it should be down a lot further to be properly loaded, but given that it's just one rock and ceramics, well, it seemed to work it seemed to work in this other step as far as it didn't leak or have any major issues. Maybe it did affect the tumbling, I don't know. But the other thing, this time when I put the water in, I've actually dug a little hole, about a ½ inch, 3/4 of an inch down from the top, because, most of the directions I read say, put her right up to the, cover the rocks, cover the ceramic. Well, a lot of people that seem to know how to tumble real well, you watch their videos, and they're not putting, they're going to the bottom of the top layer of rocks or some variation of that. So I'm going to try to go a little scant on the water this time and see if we don't get a better grind. So it's right about to here, and you can see like I said, that's about where the water is, and this is the top. So a little bit less this time. Let me get this buttoned up and back on the tumbler. Alrighty, folks, she's started her journey again, has our big potato rock. I'm still playing it cautious. I'm going to check this thing in 2 days. Just because it seemed to make some decent progress with the 120, 220, so, and like I said, I don't want to overdo it. So, I don't know if there's softer sections in it or not. I guess we're going to find out, because if there are, they'll probably be mostly gone, but I'll check back in a couple days. Alrighty, we're going to give this a couple more days at least. Like I said, I moved it down to about the center and did it sideways. I want to see if that'll help smooth off those ends and maybe the sides a little bit more. This is kind of experimental. I tried to check on it, and yeah, there are people that polish big rocks, but they usually do it with other rocks, and given that I thought this was a softer rock, I didn't want to chance it. So the other thing I found out is my tumbler was about 2 popsicle sticks off a level in this direction. So they both, the little one back in the background there, it goes to the motor end. This one's always gone to this end. Well, I never did level these up. I just set them in place, so my bad. But anyway, I was wondering if that's what kept causing that rock to come up to the surface, so to speak. So I shimmed it out a little bit, and I'm going to keep an eye on it for a while and make sure it doesn't continually go down to that end. But we'll check back in a couple days and see what kind of progress we got. Alrighty, folks, it's been 3 more days for the potato rock or stone. Let's see what we got. Go up here on top once again. Yeah, I was hoping it was going to stay more towards the middle since I leveled up the tumbler, but I guess not. Still got roughness on the end. This end, right at the very tip. This side's a little bit, although it's not bad. At least I think it feels like the sides, or edges I guess you'd call these, have definitely smoothed up. So I gotta go show this to the boss and see what she thinks, and I'll be right back with you. Alrighty, folks, it's time to quit playing around, I guess. Obviously I misjudged the hardness of this rock, like I had said before, and It doesn't really look like it's made much of any progress at all, maybe a little tiny bit. Well, I'm starting to suspect that's because there's just not enough weight with the ceramics. Or, you know, if I let it go for 2 weeks, maybe that'd do it, or maybe not, I don't know. But I decided, well, maybe it needs some friends in there. So I pulled a lot of the ceramics out and went in with a pretty, I'd say probably per weight, the ones I put in equal the one big one. So we're rocking about 6-7 pounds of rocks in there, and the rest ceramic. I'm going to add 8 tablespoons of the 60/90 because there was still some left in the grit and on the bottom, although not much. And just because that, you know, going the full 2 tablespoons just seems like an awful lot. And again, I'm trying to smooth this rock off now. I'm not necessarily, I mean, yes, I want these smooth too, but this is the one I'm focused on. Well, it's already pretty darn smooth, so I'm not trying to wear it away to nothing. There's a couple areas that I'm having issues with that I'm hoping now these guys will help fix. Again, I'm a noob though, don't know what I'm doing. So let me get the stuff added and water and get this buttoned up, and I'll be right back.